What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, and on the phone we got Netta from Smackbound. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. It's cool to be on your show.
Of course. I gotta say, having your debut album being called 2020 is very, very appropriate at the very moment, I gotta say.
Yeah. It's even more appropriate than we ever thought that it would be.
Yeah. But being that this was the debut album, was there a specific idea like that you had in mind for the making of this album? Was there a certain goal or sound that you were trying to achieve, or was there like just a lot of experimentation involved?
Well, it was a lot of experimenting things because we were trying to kind of for the first time to figure out what is the Smackbound sound. But all in all, what the goals were that we wanted to keep our freedom, so we tried to be as free as possible when writing the songs. So we didn't want to be ruling out any styles or genres just because trying to stick to, inside some box that doesn't actually exist. So we wanted to do metal and just pick up like micro genres from all the music that we love. We had the ground rules of doing energetic music, good compositions, good melodies, and lyrics that have a meaning. So and songs that have emotions.
Well, being that you've collaborated with a lot of artists such as Amorphous and Black Sun and so many others, and then you're teaming up with Timo from Winter Sun and Rolf from Stradivarius and The Dark Element. Like, is it almost kind of like combining all of your experiences into one project, or did you guys want to do something that you never really did before to begin with?
Yeah, I think it's really like everybody's able to do something totally different than we've ever done before. So it's like everybody gets to chip in more in this because we all write the songs together and so on. So this is for everyone. This band is about everybody gets to show their artistic visions in Smackbound. So it is for that reason it is a special band for everyone.
What I've noticed is I thought this record had like a lot of different vibes behind it. Like I thought a song like Wall of Silence is very different from a song like The Game, or very different from a song like Troublemaker. Was there like a lot of different emotions or many different like ideas or sources of inspiration with the making of this album?
Yeah, we didn't want to think about it too much. We started out just writing because basically the songwriting process went the same way. We always packed a car and drove to the woods to a cabin, like the Finns do. We all have summer cabins by the lakes, and we just stayed there for a few days. We locked the doors and kept ourselves inside making music, and we basically just were brainstorming. We started doing a song in the morning, and usually during midnight we had a demo ready, and we went to sleep. And in the morning we were listening to what the hell we had done the previous day, and then we usually started doing another song, or if we had to change something or do some changes to the previous one, we did. But it was very like everything came together very easily, and we worked together so well. So we kind of wanted it to have a wide spectrum of things, that it represents all of us, because it's like in the band, I love Leonard Cohen, Tuomas loves Zed. So we wanted to not only do metal, but we wanted to incorporate everything that we love about good music. So that's why there is such a great range of things inside the album.
That's awesome. As a vocalist, do you need to hear music before you come up with lyrics, or has there ever been a time where you had lyrics or maybe a story written and that maybe helped shape the composition of the songs?
Well, both ways. But I find it better to first have the song because the mood affects greatly the lyrics. So it's actually easier to make more. I think I do better lyrics with having the song to listen to, because then I really get to feel it in a different level. Of course, sometimes I've done songs that I first do lyrics to, and then I write the song, or someone else writes the song. I also have collaborated so that I only do lyrics, and then I give them to someone, and someone makes composes the song. For artists that I've done songs to in the past. But I do prefer first composing and then writing the lyrics.
Yeah, nothing could be more heartbreaking too, right, than having like the best lyrics and then they're always like one syllable over or under the actual arrangement of it.
Exactly, yeah, or something like colliding with the feeling in the lyrics. So just getting something wrong in the composition, so that they don't work together anymore, or they don't have the same goal anymore.
Do you like lyrics to be open to interpretation, or or could a listener do you want the listener to sort of be engaged into what you're singing about and maybe singing things from your point of view?
I don't want people to think that it's my point of view or they are my stories. I want people to kind of turn inwards and feel the lyrics kind of in a retrospective to their own lives and feelings. But yes, of course, I have a goal in everything that I decide what I'm trying to say. What is the initiation behind the lyrics, behind the song that I'm trying to accomplish? But I let everyone to interpret the lyrics the way they find fit for themselves.
Being that you also act as much as you sing, do you almost express a similar side of yourself that maybe people who have seen the films or plays that you were involved in? Is there maybe a similar form of expression on this album as you are when you're acting, or is acting and singing almost completely two separate arts?
In a way, they are two separate arts, but in another point of view, I do things the similar way. So I try to be as naked and honest as possible. So I'm trying to strip down everything except the truth and the core. So I do this also when I'm acting.
That's interesting, and I'd imagine if you were to play music live, there's almost kind of there has to be there has to be a choreography that's involved in performing music and performing a script or performing certain on stage, right?
Yeah, that there's I feel like if you think about, there's so different types of acting. When you're acting on a theater stage, doing a play. It is a whole different thing than acting for camera, like TV series. And I feel that in a way, I do feel that performing music on stage for me is closer to the camera work and not the theater work, because in theater you kind of have to make everything bigger, to point things out. But I do feel that in camera work and in music, the feeling, the energy just comes through.
So is it fair to say that maybe the Smackbound album is 2020 maybe a side of you that we have yet to see? People who may think they know you from your collaborative works with other bands, or seeing you on screen or on stage. Like this is almost like a different side of you that we've never seen before, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah, I think so. Because I'm opening up to a lot of things, and I'm getting myself, I open my heart and I'll show myself vulnerable, which is something that we don't usually do in everyday life all the time, and I do that for people to have the courage to do that in their own lives. So I'm trying to not tell my story, but free people so that they feel comfortable in kind of being who they really are and showing themselves in all the colors, the good and the bad and the ugly.
Of course, the beauty of darkness, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, I know I'm asking this question probably extremely premature, being that 2020 isn't even out yet. But like, do you think now that you have this debut album done, do you feel like that Smackbound has found their identity and that maybe more doors have opened up in the future for new music?
Yeah, we do feel with this album that we did find, even though it's very versatile, and that's part of our also our style, but we do feel that we found the core and we know now what we are going towards. So we've already, because we're in these circumstances where everything's cancelled, that the COVID-19 is changing our lives. So we've taken the positive side of this and started writing songs for the next album. So now we're really focused on what we know where we want to go to.
Yeah, I've noticed because like a lot of bands have been releasing albums during this time, and there's obviously we can't perform at the moment, so we're gonna get like the quickest follow-ups to every single album, I feel.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be a overload of albums next spring or next year. So we have to check what's really like what's the good timing to put out the second album. But it took us several years to get this first one done. So now we want to be more focused and we want to take advantage of this situation, so that now that we actually are able to group up and because the guys, all of us are busy doing different projects and having different bands, so we've had a lot of difficulties to find time in the schedules. So now everybody has more time, so we are really focused on getting more work done now, so we get the second album out, so that it doesn't take another 4 years.
There you go. When it comes to singing, how different of like a mind frame is it, singing for Smackbound as opposed to, collaborating with other artists such as Amorphous or Black Sun, etc.? Like, is there maybe like a similar method behind the madness that applies to singing in general, or depending on the project you're with, it's a completely separate thing?
Well, I try to feel everything that I sing, despite what the music is, and do I actually in a way own it or understand it, or I'm always trying to understand the song and kind of I'll try to forget myself and put the song out there in a way that I feel that it should be served. And this is similar in whatever music I do and sing. It doesn't matter who I'm singing to and whose song it is. But the difference is now that, of course, when I'm working for someone and singing for someone else, I'm a servant in a way that I do whatever they wish. I do things the way they want me to do them. But now I get to do them just the way that I want to do them. So there's more freedom into, singing for your own band.
I'd imagine that, right? But I'd imagine when it comes to either in your work that you've done with acting or, collaborating with Amorphous and Lordy and so much, it has to teach you on how to apply your voice into your own stuff as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Everything I've done in the past and I do is always, everything is kind of coming together and teaching stuff all the time. So we learn constantly things, how to do things and how to better yourself and how I can kind of put things out there in a way that people understand and can pick them up, like energy and emotions, and how to sing in a way that people actually can hear what you're singing about. So how to pronounce things and stuff like that. So this is like every kind of job you do, even if it's acting, you have to be considerate about talking in a way that people can hear what you are actually saying. The words come out.
Yeah.
Like so every single job that I do helps me to develop to be better in all of this that I do as a profession.
Yeah. Is there any similarity into looking at a script as like a notebook full of lyrics? Is there any similarity at all to that as well? Like, I'd imagine there has to be like a certain amount of preparation that applies to both, right?
Yeah, there is. For me, it's a very intuitive process, and I'm always trying to get to the bottom of things. So I'm trying to ask the questions. I don't just read a script and check out what is going on and what is happening. I am trying to figure out why. And this same thing applies to lyrics. I am trying to understand why something is said and felt.
Of course. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there just anything else with Smackbound that you would like to promote? Obviously, thanks to, the virus that shall not be named. Is there just, I'd imagine, but once all this is over, we could obviously be expecting some live Smackbound shows as well, right? Will you ever bring this to the States?
Yeah, we really hope so. We are really looking forward to be able to tour because now it's an interesting situation having a debut album coming out and then having to cancel everything. So no one has seen us perform Smackbound songs live. So we truly hope that the world opens up again as soon as possible so that we are able to perform live for people, because the energy is always so much is so much bigger and so much better when you are actually performing live. So there's a synergy between the audience and the band.
Yeah, I do want to ask too. I should have asked this in the beginning, but was 2020, was this the title before all this happened? Because if it did, I think that this is one of those albums that predicted the future.
It was the title of the album. 2020 was I think it was I came up with it in November, I think. So I really didn't know that it will hold such a meaning to it. For me, it was, of course, it stated the year, but for me it was firstly about more of thinking about the 2020 vision, which is the theme of the whole album, seeing the truth in retrospective, in the present, and also in the future. So it's like a mirroring yourself. It's self-reflective title, but now it gave a whole new meaning to this, and also the 2020 vision kind of got to the next level once all of this started to happen.
Yeah, I was about to say that there's a lot more context behind this album now, and I would say that with both your sound and with your meaning, it's fair to say that Smackbound is a band that is way ahead of its time in multiple ways. So good job.
Thank you so much. That's so great to hear. Thank you for the kind words.
Of course. Thank you, Netta. Everybody, we're here with Netta of Smackbound 2020 coming out in June. Be sure to pick it up then. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.